I think this opens up. We'll get some Maverick audio, some fan audio. We also have the De'Aaron Fox trade still to talk about. But I wonder how much this is going to impact Portland, because we talked on this show, and largely the conversation in the NBA has been the deadline is going to be quiet. No movement on the deadline.
Nobody wants any of these contracts.
It's hard in the NBA, the second apron.
Can't move anybody.
And then the Mavericks laughed and said, oh, really? Here we go.
And then you have more trades on top of that.
And then you got the De'Aaron Fox trade. How do you not look at the Lakers and just smells like they need a Robert Williams III?
Yeah, yes, please. What do you got? Dalton
They
Connect?
still have a first-round pick to deal.
But if you're the Lakers and you just got Luka for 1, are you giving Portland a 1 for Robert Williams?
Probably
are you that
not.
Desperate?
Probably not. Can we get Dalton Connect out of the deal? I don't know. You got to make salaries work. What's Robert Williams make?
Not much.
I mean, the other takeaway from this weekend, somebody had a tweet, and you kind of alluded to this earlier in the show. Like, this is the time of year where you get the dumbest tweets and graphics out of trade machine ideas. None of them are dumb anymore.
No,
every single
anymore,
one. I'm like,
no.
all right. Robert Williams makes $12 million a year, so you got to make $12 million work in that deal. Connects on a rookie deal, so that probably wouldn't work. You'd have to have other pieces involved.
Do you guys? Because the Blazers won again, by the way, Saturday, blew out the Phoenix Suns.
Who had the Blazers surpassing the win total before the All-Star break, by the way?
Well, we talked about it on Friday's show of like, we might go into Monday saying they're going to crush this before the All-Star game. Yeah. And I wouldn't be shocked if they win again tonight. Phoenix is a disaster.
I mean, that wasn't even competitive. That game was over. It felt like at halftime.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to jump in here?
I sure as hell hope so, and I hope that the one trade that we haven't talked about yet, being the Levine trade, is an eye-opener for them. Of like, if you want to move on from some of these guys and you want to get out of deals, you're not going to get a lot, man. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes just unloading the salary and opening up pathways for other guys to play, like. Look, I know I'm a broken record. I don't care anymore. I turned on the game on Saturday night. Got nothing else going on. Teddy went down at about 6:45. I'm like, hey, it's perfect. I actually get to sit. It's on my antenna, so I got to be in front of my TV in order to watch it. I can't watch it on my phone or my tablet. And I turn on the game, and what do I find out? Jeremy Grant's back in the starting lineup. Scoot Henderson, who had a phenomenal game in the game that Jeremy Grant was out. Where did Scoot go? What happened immediately? Right back to the bench.
Yeah, you got to start the vet.
You got to start the vet. And so I know I'm a broken record on that. I remain hopeful. I am doubtful that anything actually transpires going into the deadline, but I would hope that the Levine trade. Zach LaVine is a really good player in the NBA.
He's had a good year.
He's had a really good year this year. He's making a lot of money. It's a bloated contract. To the whole CBA conversation, Chicago is now saying, hey, we're slightly ahead of, like, Portland's winning these games. I think Chicago's a game or two ahead or behind, however you want to define it in the standings. They're right next to us, essentially. Let's get rid of LaVine and let's openly tank for the rest of the year.
They need to trade Vucevic, and then
that's the next step. And then they're going to be in a free fall for the rest of the year, which is exactly what I would hope Portland would do.
Yeah.
But if you're going to trade Jeremy Grant, you're not going to get a lot in return. And I'm not going to criticize you for that trade if it ends up happening, because that's the reality of the league right now.
By the way, we haven't got to the Spurs. The Spurs, who got De'Aaron Fox, are plus 390 to make the playoffs. I wouldn't bet anything else, but I'd bet that.
That seems like a pretty safe bet.
Plus
now, that's
390.
the top 8.
So you got to win the play-in.
You got to get out of the play-in and into the top 8 for the playoffs.
They're 2 games behind the Kings for the last spot in the play-in.
But if you played the Spurs in a play-in, would you feel confident?
Not in a one-game situation if they're all healthy.
I mean, the teams in that mix are going to be Minnesota, Phoenix, Dallas, and Sacramento.
And by the way, keep an eye on this. If Portland wins tonight, they are now tied with the Bulls, who are 3-7 in their last 10, and they're probably looking to move off
Just
Vucevic.
traded their best player for essentially nothing.
And the Hawks are 2-8 in their last 10, and you are 1 game back of the Atlanta Hawks. 1 game back. So you could have Atlanta and Chicago both pass Portland.
Yes.
In the lottery stuff. But again, there's some people in Portland that the ping pong balls don't matter.
Did those people watch Duke UNC on Saturday night? Because I watched that game.
I had to turn that off.
And
that
dear
hurt.
God.
That hurt.
Dear God.
Yeah. Well,
he is good.
Also, they're bad.
UNC's bad. Sure, I'll grant you that.
Is bad.
UNC is not good this year.
But he was great.
What Cooper flagged in on Saturday night. I watched a lot of college hoops actually on Saturday because there was that game. There was the Calipari return game. Gonzaga St. Mary's late at night. I didn't make it to the end of that one, but I saw the start of it. There was good college hoops on Saturday night.
Should Kentucky have even booed? I would have been better off. I think it'd be funnier to just have no reaction.
Yeah, it just should have been nothing.
Like, thanks for one title, but you largely underdelivered.
Yeah. The booing was, and it was a mutual parting of ways, it felt like.
It wasn't really that loud of a boo.
No.
It was like, it wasn't quite Canada booing the national anthem at a basketball game.
No, it was not. And
No.
NHL games across Canada currently.
Poll question. Is America going to boo the anthem?
It was pretty ironic, though, that he went into Kentucky and won,
Is that
because
what
Arkansas
fires
has
up
been a
Canada
disaster
to
this year.
Finally win a Stanley Cup. Canadian
This is the
team-
difference
is
maker.
Yeah,
The
Canadian
tariffs
teams
finally
are gonna
give us
rally.
Stanley Cup back. It's been so long. Shove your tariff, America. We want our own sport. We're not going to play in your league anymore.
Yeah, Arkansas was 1-6 in SEC.
They've
play
been
going into
horrible.
that
A
game.
massive disappointment. And he went in and won, and now everybody in Kentucky's all pissed at Pope.
I'll hold the Maverick fan audio because they held a funeral outside of the arena.
They did. Yeah.
We got some emotional
Took
Maverick
a
fans.
literal casket to the front of the arena.